Hello, 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 everyone. Happy Monday. Hold on, let me fix that. That is not right. That is not right. Let me see here. Hold on. Is that better? Now I'm gonna have to fix that. Shoot. There we go. All right, I still have to do a little touch up on that. Again, I'm moving the stuff. Sorry for the delay there, everyone. Green screen got a little off. How is everyone doing? Going to be a light morning in here for live people, but Sterling is here. Sterling, thank you for tuning in. Are you working today or do you get the day off, Sterling? You're probably working. Putting in the news. Ooh, I didn't see that one. Nintendo falls up to 8.5% following the reports delays of the Switch 2 launch date. Wonder when the launch date's going to be. Neutral from accumulate from Tesla. All right. Hey, Jake the Snake. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Again, you are working. Well, I hope you have a wonderful week. And just want to point out a couple things. You know, there'll be probably some people watching this on replay, so that is fine. Again, today is a stock market holiday. The futures have limited trading hours, so there's no news today, but let's just see what's coming up this week. Let's look at any key earnings. Silver actually made a key pattern. I just wanted to take a quick look at that, and if there's anything else you want to look at, just let me know. It's not going to be a long session today, but figured I'd just touch base with everybody's consumer board leading index. Again, this has been in contraction for many, many months. This is for January, coming out tomorrow. And then we have 3 and 6 months bills. So tomorrow is still a light day. Wednesday, we got Bostic speaking and Bowman speaking, and the FOMC minutes. That's the big thing on Wednesday, the FOMC minutes from the last meeting. And then on Thursday, we have, of course, initial and continuing jobless claims, the S&P Composite PMI, manufacturing and services, and that's going to be pretty decent because you don't have the bigger boys coming on Thursday. Then you got the EIA numbers, which remember would normally be Wednesday, but due to today being a holiday, are shifted one day. And then you got a lot of Fed speak. And then Friday again, you only have rig counts. So very, very light week. Besides, you have the FOMC minutes and some Fed speak. But that's where that looks. In terms of earnings, today you have Transocean. That's probably the biggest thing if you're an energy trader. Tomorrow, though, before the open, Walmart, Home Depot. Those are going to be key, especially Walmart. But those are biggies tomorrow. So pay attention to that. Good morning, Anissa. Thank you for tuning in. Keep those in mind. Then after the close, you have Palo Alto Networks, SolarEdge, Teladoc. Is Kathy still in Teladoc? So that's where that sits. And then we have, what do we have? Oh, of course, Wingstop. Can't forget. Shouldn't Wingstop report like after the close? Who wants to think about Wingstop like at 7 a.m.? Who really? Do we they need to adjust that. But after the close on Wednesday, Nvidia. Keep an eye out. That's the biggest one this week. And then I'd say it's Walmart and Home Depot. But Nvidia. You also have Etsy. I mean, you do have Lucid and Rivian, but the big one is Nvidia, and that's really between the FOMC minutes. I don't think there's anything shocking in it, but back to back with Nvidia could be for some market volatility. Moderna on Thursday morning. What else do we have? That's really about it. Carvana and Block SQ on Thursday after close. Warner Brothers Discovery on Friday morning. And that's really it. So Tuesday morning and Wednesday close are the biggies for this week. Let's see. Speaking of energy, URA has a triggered daily double top, but didn't trigger on the weekly yet. Well, we'll take a look at URA. Again, the market's closed, so that was Friday. Again, very weak. Fed Watch tool, though, Still showing pause. March and May are a pause. One cut in June, either a cut in July or August, and one in November and one in December. But that's only take it back to 4.25 to 4.5 percent. So it really has one, two, three cuts, four cuts still. Four cuts for this year. Fear and greed. I don't know if this is updated, but through Friday's close, but it might still be an extreme greed. By the way, it's Schiller P&E. Look, it's 33.69. Either earnings really got to start ramping up for next quarter, or this market's getting severely overvalued. So that's where that sits now. Just in terms of the bigger picture, let's just take a look. Since futures are open, but very quiet today, we do have potential double tops. We had Friday reversal day with the options expiration also on Friday, and we still have the double tops in play. What's interesting on this is you see here on the weekly, you see here, let me just hide some of this. This is the base for the double on the daily, but it would be going into the weekly rotation zone, and the 8 would be out of the way, and it would be coming to completion potentially before the bottom of the weekly. So we could be setting up for a bigger pullback. Weekly cycle's still headed down now. Dailies are in the middle. If we get any more pop up here and then a bigger rollover, it could get interesting. And the daily rotation zone is out of the way of this triggers. Now, again, we're still far away off from triggering 49.3650 on a closing basis, but I am keeping an eye on that very closely, especially with all these divergences. NASDAQ, same thing. Potential double. Now, Friday was an outside key reversal day with a very weak close in the NASDAQ. And we got NVIDIA on Wednesday afternoon. So this could get a little interesting, although daily cycles get to the bottom. The key level for the NASDAQ is 17,542. 17,542 on a closing basis. There's not much to talk about with the Dow. There is still this other double in there against a very key harmonic. But again, the rotation's been, Dow pulled back on Friday, but not anywhere close to what the NASDAQ. It looks like a lot of our money's still rotating into the blue chips, the mega cap, the blue chips, the safer plays. But that still does have a potential double. And the Russell, again, still with the channel almost up to the 87.5. That could be completed though, but a long ways from a breakdown level. All right, we got through that. There's nothing really. Notes still has a little mini potential double bottom within the already triggered and first target reached double top. The yield, the inverse of that, has not hit the first target yet. That's still 4.395. All right, but let's see. Again, you get the rising rotation zone, and you do have a little mini double top that has not triggered and may never trigger. So we're keeping an eye on that too. 10-2s. Pretty much reaching the first target on here, and a little bounce, but not much to talk about. Dollar index, this is, again, prior resistance becoming potential support with a rising trend line. The only thing that still gets me watching for the breakdown of the dollars back below 103.20. Other than that, it has a triggered sloppy inverse head and shoulders because no symmetry in both the shoulders, but really it closed above the 62.5, so probability says we should still see some upward pushes in prices. Crude, little mini daily double top, so have to stay in bullish mode unless it closes below 75.52. Okay, so but that is something to be aware of. Here's what I want to look at. Silver, you can see here, weekly double bottom that triggered on a weekly basis. So far a pullback. So, and this was against the 200-day, and you see here trigger topping out at the 200-day. The last time it was support back at the end of December and then breaking below at the beginning of January. Now retesting that. So it's going to have to do some chipping away at that key level, but that did trigger for the silver. I think I have there we go. Wrong. Sorry, I had that off slightly. But here we go. Uh, Boy, it's obviously a Monday because I drew those backwards. So the invalidation point of that would be 22.52 on a closing basis. Other than that, the pattern is still in play. So going to be keeping an eye on that because last time it really ramped up. And here's a good example of a potential front run. So on Wednesday, we had a percent B buy setup, triggering above the high and then following through with the close above the high. And so that could be carried forward now because it also triggered into the daily, into the weekly double bottom. So there's an example of, something that wouldn't want to keep that. Again, what's interesting is look where the 62.5 is in relation to where the trigger point was. So that's what's key right there, but I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on silver this week. All right. Hey, George, happy market holiday to you too. I wanted to ask about managing a triggered percent B like gold after it reaches the R zone if you have time. Well, ask the question. Today's a good day to ask it. URA, uranium, which did trigger on the daily. Still, going to put it in there, confirmed, but did not trigger on the weekly. Still a completely valid setup. Now, could that easily be? So this is, again, if you're trading around a core position, this could be patient and wait for bigger pullback levels back in uranium. Where would that potentially take it? Could take it all the way back to the 50 EMA. And also that would be very key if it did close back below this most recent swing low from January. That would be key because it could break and we could get a multi-wave pullback there. So do keep an eye on that. What you have here, SMCI put in a huge bearish engulfing bar on Friday as it gapped up and then plummeted $200 and reconnected with the daily 8 EMA. Yeah, this thing, it was not so I mean, here you have there's your boom straight to the 8. Yeah, that was a wide range bar. But this thing's gone insane. Now, for any of the bulls still in super microcomputer, the secondary reaction is going to be very key. Because I'm expecting a pop and then another roll over. But that's, unless it got above that 62.5 on that retracement basis, would be thinking that this could potentially be the top for a very long time. Remember, vertical up, vertical down, but you get that secondary pop many times. It could go down a little more tomorrow, but again, secondary pops to watch for, and that's going to be key. What else? So managing now your rotation zone in gold is flat. Based off of right now, the trigger, it was getting long above Wednesday's high, last Wednesday's high with the follow-through close. If it didn't close above there, so technically the initial stop is below the low of the bar. Whatever the lowest low around that bar is, because the previous bar could still have been lower, not in this example, but you don't want to crowd your stop initially. Now, coming up here, since it has not been able to get much traction, at this point, from my personal stuff, ignore when the rotation zone's flat and choppy in a consolidation pattern, just ignore it. What you're looking for in order to really keep going with this is it's got to really start getting above, especially 2050. But if it pops into 2039 to 2050, that would be an aggressive area. Until then, this being a holiday, an aggressive stop would be below today's most likely low that's probably in for a trailing perspective, and then you just go down in shorter time frames. Okay, so we have something like this. So if you're watching this, would it be unreasonable to keep a stop even below this 2025 area so it could complete the double, come back to the prior support? This is where it's handier to go down and even if you're trading it on the longer term time frames or the daily time frames, you go down and you look for key levels here. All right. If you were really in, I'm going to give it a lot more room to run. I would, if it really dropped below this 37.5 harmonic, that would be the farthest away at this point I'd want trailing stop to be. You have the breakout area, you have the key resistance, and which should become support, and you have the 37.5 harmonic. So that's the way those are many different ways you could set up a trailing stop for that. Okay? And again, that depends on your outlook on gold. What's interesting here is, it tried to break down, found some buyer support, got the little pop in there, but gold has not been able to follow through yet. Speaking of follow through, Bitcoin, keep an eye on this. This is in potential daily double top territory. Now that could be just a pullback to, this 48,500, 48 area. But so that would be a minor pullback after a pretty substantial run. So for those Bitcoin bulls, keep an eye on that too. All right. I am not seeing much else from people. Did we look? Yeah, we looked at everything. Oh, the euro, by the way. Where is my euro? Where did my euro go? Just keep an eye if the euro starts popping. We could start getting a bigger pullback in the dollar index if the euro starts getting above this key resistance areas of about 108. 108 is very key. GILD triggered a daily double top on weekly on Friday. Yeah, it's actually, if you look here, it's a really nice pattern on the monthly too. Now, I would probably watch for a bounce back up and then a rollover play in this, but this could easily return to key support over the next few months. So keep that in mind. Very key support down here. That would be the monthly. It's a really clean pattern on the monthly, and look at the 200 month. All the way there. So yes, I definitely keep an eye on that, especially if you are a Gilead Sciences bull. I get in cautious mode with that triggering. Not saying it can't bounce, because many of these on these longer term ones, they do bounce before the next rollover play. Natty Gas. All right, we'll get that. Anissa Martinez. Good morning. Natty Gas. Where's my Natty Gas? There it is. So Natty Gas is coming into very, 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 how many times can I say that? See here, very key support. So, down around this 140 area, I'd start looking for a potential bigger reversal pattern. Is there one yet here? No. But if it does drop below this 152 area, 140 is key. You could get a little bounce here, but we don't have a longer term bottoming pattern yet. And anything like a %B buy setup would just be for a little bounce, potentially back to the 8 or just slightly above it, but there's no longer term. So I would start watching for a more substantial bottoming pattern, but there's nothing yet. And from a seasonality perspective, you don't have the seasonals with you because winter is wrapping up unless all of a sudden we get a huge cold snap, which I don't see on the radar. So from a bullish perspective, I'd be watching, but there's no setup yet. Okay, there is no clear setup yet. All right, that's where we'll call it for today. Unless you're trading some futures, which this is more just a prep for the rest of the week and getting, this is a great time so you don't have to do your prep on a Sunday. You do it on the Monday and then figure out, there's no point in even trading the futures today. They're not doing much at all. And then remember, they close early. So just do your market prep. Don't do anything silly. Don't throw money at a closed market, really. And enjoy the day. You are welcome. Anissa, everybody, thank you for tuning in. If you got to watch this on replay, thank you for watching it, and I will be back tomorrow. Bye for now.